So, good morning. Well, good afternoon. We are back for another show, and today it's a continuation from what we worked on Monday. So, we did a bunch of Webpack stuff. We set up the folder structure. We've set up the npm packages. We also did the GitHub stuff. So, we're going to continue that, and we're going to work on a bit more Webpack. I think there's a few more things that we require to do. One thing I might, how am I going to say this? So with the Webpack, because it's such a huge project, it might not be advisable to sit down and just try and do it at the beginning. So what we're going to do is we're going to see what we can add a bit more to it now. And as we go along, we will build things that we require, such as at a next step, maybe in the future, we're going to need something. So for JavaScript, we're not going to be using it right now, but eventually we're going to use it. So we're going to need to do some ES6 installations for Webpack. So we'll be installing projects like packages like Babel and get that configured up. So then when you run and execute the Webpack project, it will build all the ES6 and convert them to correct format for web, so it will convert them into ES5. It's just a better way of doing it. ES6 is really like amazing. I just wish that we didn't have to convert, but not all browsers support it, and it's getting there. I mean, maybe in a few more years it will have complete support of that, but for now some browsers don't support it, so we have to make sure, a bit like the Internet Explorer days, we had to make sure to kind of account for it every time we work. So without hanging around too much, we're going to start. First thing I promised last week is that we, on Monday, is setting up GitHub. We set it up using the master branch, and we put our initial build into the master branch. But we don't want to touch that anymore, because, I mean, unless you know what you're doing, everything will be done in the master branch, but most likely no one will let you touch the master branch unless you finish deploying. And I want to have that as a best practice while working in this project. Is we'll have a normal branch, and we'll learn how to push to that branch, and we'll learn how to move to push that into merge it with the master branch at a later stage. You'll know why we're doing that as we go along. One of the reasons is you can revert back if you push from one branch to another, whereas if you push it into the master branch, it will be a bit more, there'll be a bit more work required. Eventually you could just test anything out you need in two separate branches, and when everything is ready you can integrate it with the master branch. And in a bigger scope of things, if you have things in production and things are critical, you don't want any developer to just develop and push to the master branch. Otherwise we're going to have some serious problems. So let's switch back to let me switch to alright. So first things first, we'll go to our GitHub page that we worked on, this one, Alan's Wild site, and create a new branch. So if we go to here, master, and let's do this, and then lesson 2. Yeah, or you could just call it your name, which is what I do at work, and then we normally put the ticket number or whatever it is, but let's lesson 2. Okay, so whatever suits you. Obviously when you're working in an environment, you will make sure that you comply with the way they want things. Some companies want it something like this, where they have a fix for certain stuff, but each company has its own common default workspace, work environment setups. So let's create this the lesson 2. Alright, so now we have a lesson 2. Now we've created lesson 2. 1 second, let me just mute this. Alright, so we've created this lesson 2, which is a copy of the master branch. You can in the future, hello I can't pronounce that. Alright, so we created this lesson 2 to be it branches off from the master branch. But as the projects get bigger and more exciting, you can create branches of other branches. So if you've started to work on, say, a specific feature and you want to try something out, else out, then you could just create a separate branch of that branch and work on it separately. So we've created this branch. Now we need to go back to let's switch back to the code system. Alright, let's switch back to our code editor. And I wanted to show you, within Visual Studio, there's also a terminal. So, and the nice thing about that is it just starts up straight into your environment, your work path. So I'm currently in this folder, so it just jumps to it straight away. I'm using Bash for this. I prefer using Bash. I think most of them on Windows will have their own default PowerShell. Okay, I just converted to Bash. You could just select it from here, or I think if you go select default shell, you can switch it from over here, but each their own. Alright, so for this one, what we're going to need to do is, since we're in the master, can you see this here? It says master. That is actually means that we are in the master branch. So we need to switch to the lesson 2 branch. So just do git pull to make sure everything's up to date. Yeah, and it also pulls any branches that we've created. And then you do git checkout. Okay, and then lesson 2. And that's it. Yeah, now we're in lesson 2. We can start working from here. So sorry, can't get where? What I'll do is I'll post the link. Alright, so I'm a bit lost now. Okay. Can you see that link now I sent you it? Alright, so if you go ahead and download that, and then you can follow along. And if you go to here, code, and then just copy this link. And then when you copy this link, just do a git clone. Here, do a git clone, and then the link, and then it will download wherever you want. So something like this, so like that, and then you just download it. All right. While he does that, let's move on to something else. So what we did last week was we just got it to create a bundle. Let's have a look and see what else we need. Did we do that as well? Yeah, we did the build webpack. I think another thing that we can do is this. I was playing around with this earlier. So let's just do a watch. So watch. Yeah. And then all you do is add this, and just put watch at the end. Okay. And what that does is, what it basically does is this, is if you go to your watch, it will run it and then watch it. And every time you press save into a JavaScript file or a Sass file, it will automatically notice that there's a change and it will compile it again. So it just saves you keep running it every time. But right now we don't have any JavaScript files or Sass files to be exact. So we're going to have to work with that. Disable this. You press Control C to kind of block out and cancel it. So if we go to here, I think what we need to do is create some folders in the source folder. So new folder, assets. So the assets folder will be where all your images and any other assets you're going to need. We need a scripts folder. Just put all our scripts in. And we need a styles folder. And this will be where all your Sass files are going to be there. Let's create a new file called index.css. Okay, we can move this into here. Alright, now we've done that, let's go to git add, git status, and as you can see that these are the ones that were changed. These are the new files and folders we've added. Okay, so git add, yeah, and then git commit, and created new folders. Okay, yada. Obviously, it'll be more descriptive than that. All right, once that's done, you go to git push, and that will push what we've just changed we've done to our branch. I'm sorry, what doesn't work? Because I just got it to work on my laptop literally 10 minutes ago. Do you have Git installed? Alright, now this one here, since we pushed this to the branch, if we go back to the branches and refresh this, now in the source folder, you'll see that there's a scripts and styles. However, there is no assets folder. The reason why there's no assets folder is because it's empty. And with the gits, they don't. When you do a git version control, it doesn't pull off empty files folders. I'm sure there's a way of getting it to do that. But look at this. So in the source folder, there's scripts and styles. And there's no index. Now, if we go to here and go to master branch, it only shows you the index. The reason why is because we updated the changes in our lesson and not in the master branch. So now we need to move it across. So we create a pull request and create new folders for source or structure, yeah, and then you comment here. Okay, normally you'll just put whatever you want, and basically we want to merge lesson 2 into the master branch. Okay, and then you create a pull request. Now in your pull request you'll see that this is what it is. Yeah, and then you'll have your lead developer look at it and say, yeah, we're happy with the changes. He'll check everything and then he'll just merge it and then confirm. Okay, now that's merged. We don't need to delete the branch for now because we're going to be still using it. But if we go back to our code and switch to the master branch, yeah, we're in the master branch, and then go to source. There we are. We see them. So now you'll see that all the changes are actually in the master branch now, and it also updated with the latest commit. I shouldn't have put yada yada yada, but anyway, it updated that as well. Okay, so hi Mo, you alright? Alright, so now we're done here. We can switch back to Webpack. Now the next thing we need to do is make sure that we have the index working, the Sass files working, because currently it's only looking at the index, okay, and not the Sass file. So let's add here just a quick one. So body and then background color and just put red. Okay. Alright, now we need to set up the setups, basically the Webpack building. So modules. Where do they have this? Alright, so we need the CSS, but what we actually need is we need Sass. So let me just have a look at this. See. I think for now the easiest and fastest way would be just to go to here, go to the top, and then just import straight into if we just try this here, PM. That's why I don't like using it. Yeah, so here is the error we have because we moved this file here. It's looking for it in the wrong place. So alright, so let me just have a look at this. There we are. Okay, so now what we need to do is set up the Sass. So let me just get rid of this. I just made a mistake here. So what we need to do is install Sass. Alright, so first things first, don't need Webpack to be installed again. Okay, and I'm using yarn, so yarn. And there was an error here. Alright, so in this one we're installing the Sass loader and the Sass packages for Webpack. So once that's done, you'll see it in the package.json file. And here we are. This is the Sass, and this is the Sass loader. Next thing we need to do is head over back to the config and actually go back to the index file for the JS, and that was correct. We just didn't have the right loader to read it. Alright, and then we do this. So in the module export, okay, under this, we go module, yep, and then rules, okay, and then we do test. And what the test is looking for is basically, so we're breaking out of here, and then we're doing S, and then A and C, because there's two versions of the SCSS. There's Sass, which is SCSS, sorry, SASS, and then there's the SCSS. They're more or less the same. Their only difference is some of the syntax that works between the two. But you want to count for this. I mean, I don't really, I don't use Sass, so I'll just stick to this. And then you do a, alright. Alright, that's the first one. And then the use case. Alright, and it says, so we're using, we need to load up a style loader, so style loader. Okay. We also need to load up the CSS loader. Yeah. And the Sass loader as well that we installed. Okay. And then we can close off. Let's test this out. And we have this fail here as well. What failed? Alright, so have a look at this. Let's see. Here we are. This is an array. We did not put it in an array. So let's try this. And it failed as well. Minute build error index. Alright, so you can't resolve the style loader. Did we even install the style loader? Alright, so no. Let's install the and we need the CSS loader. Okay. Because both of them are installed. Alright, so now we try and build again. All right, that's done. So now if we go back to our distribution folder and look at the bundle, we should be able to see some styling in here. What did we say? Yeah, this is what we added. So in the code. Now this will work. So if we once we I think if I run this, should work. Yep. So that change we did. Now if we do this and go back to the Sass file, if we make this blue and save it, and then so now here we have. All right, so we've changed the Sass file to blue, but it's not changing here. The reason why is because we haven't run it. So let's do this. Let's run the watcher that we created. Okay, now it's waiting. Now we just let's refresh this because it's going to change. And let's make this one a yellow now. Okay, save it, and it should automatically update. Yeah, without me even refreshing, because it's watching for the changes that we create. Now, one thing I don't like is having the JavaScript files in the CSS inside the JavaScript file. It's all great. It works perfectly fine. It's just not something I'm used to. I'm used to having it in its own separate CSS file. So what we'll do is, I'm not going to take it out right now. We'll continue building the site. I think we don't need anything else right now. We might need to install Bootstrap and some of the stuff that we need to build the site. But in terms of functionality for Webpack, we have the index working and we have the CSS file working. So what we'll do is we'll come back to Webpack at a later stage when we require more functionality. But right now, let's just get started and build some stuff. So I don't need anything here because I don't use that. All right, so move this into here. All right, so everything is within the source folder. This is gonna work. Turn this off and then go live again. All right, so that's empty. Now, let's close these. So the first thing we're going to do is let's install some Bootstrap, and we wanted to start working around with playing around with Bootstrap. Oh God, what can I do? We wanted to start with Bootstrap 5. Bootstrap 5. I wanted to have a play around with that. I think this is going to be exciting. All right, so what we need to do is figure out where it comes from. All right, so this is the command we're going to need to install. So we head back to our terminal, and we need to add yarn add, and it's bootstrap, and then at, and then next release. Okay, and we need to make sure that it's in. Yeah, that should be fine. That will install it in the save section. It won't install it in the development section, because this is a dependency, and we require it to work. Do we need? Okay, this link here will basically allow you to check out and see what's new with it as well. So now we've installed that. Alright. So what we can do is let's have a look and see. How do you set that up? Yeah, so all we need to do is head over to our index, the script file, and just do at import, so we can import a file, and then because we're going to import from a node, from the node folders, so the quickest way to do it is this, and that will look at straight. We'll look into the nodes now, and then we need bootstrap. Yep, and what we're going for is, so with bootstrap they have their own Sass files, but what we're looking for is just the main bootstrap file, and that will import everything for us. We can go in and import everything individually, which is kind of ideal, but I think what we're going to do is do this. So I did this earlier with a different project, and no, you don't need this. I've changed it. Okay, so and then we just do bootstrap. Yeah, we don't, when we use this input statements, we don't need to do this. Okay, it's just, it automatically recognizes a Sass file. Just put that, and then you always end with one of these. Okay, and let's just have a comment here and say third party plugins. Alright, now that's our third party plugins. Save that, and then build this. Okay, and let's see what happens here. Okay, so that's built. So let's have a look and see here. There's nothing to see because there's nothing there. So if we head back to our index file, and let's just do this, div.jumbo. Let's just put jumbo. Nope. So come here, just go to examples, just copy something. In the documentation, go to layout, components, nav bar, and then just have a look at one of the nav bars. I think this one is fine. Copy this, and then we need a header here. And inside the header, you put this. Don't change anything else. Should automatically update, and bootstrap is not loaded. Okay, so now we need to see why. Let's try this. Just maybe some separate. Still doesn't work. Yeah. All right. I know it's not working. In the index file. So in the index file, we go to the bottom. It's here. It's actually the dot dot will take you back a folder, because we move the index file within the source folder. We do kind of update the links. And if I reload this, okay, so Bootstrap is working now. So now we've got Bootstrap working. When you've got Bootstrap working and we have our index files working, I think what we need to do is start playing around with actually building the whole program. Let me just add a comment here. So to do make Webpack automatically add scripts. Okay. Now this thing is what I use on one of my sites. I just need to look for it before we do it today, but I think at a later stage we'll make it automatic. So, and we'll break down the bundle as well into separate bundles. So we'll do that next stage. Alright, so now what we need to do is go back to our Adobe XD file that we built and load up the I think what I'm going to do is, so in the assets folder, I'm going to, well, not in the assets, I'm going to just create a new folder here and call it just files or other files. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll copy save as file, save as local document. I'm going to copy this project into this folder. Okay, now we have that in there. I'm also going to copy, I think I have the logo for Alan Spide as well. So downloads. Okay. I'm going to copy the logo for Alan Spide as well. And let's push this over to everyone. Git. I think I'm just gonna take this one step at a time. I don't like using it within. I prefer having it separate. So now if we look at the status, there's these files here. Okay. So git git commit added bootstrap and XD files. Okay. let's just push that across. Close that. All right, so now that's there. Let me have a look and see. Switch to the lesson 2. Yep, and there's the other files. Are they all there? Yeah. So now you have the XD files available for you to use. There's also the logo as well. And I've put in the AI files as well. So just in case someone wants to have a look and see. We'll also be using these AI files to recreate some of the logos that we might need. So we'll have a look at that at another stage. So now I need to do a pull request. Yeah, create pull request. I know this might be a bit tedious of doing it this way. It'd be just easier to just switch to the master branches to start whacking everything in there. But the reason why I'm making sure that we do it this way is so we can get into a habit of using version control, whether it's a small project file or a large project. I mean, right now, private repos on GitHub are free. After Microsoft takeover, they've made it all free, and there's an unlimited amount of them. So you can have your own private repos, or you can have a public repo like I've done for this one. The difference to the public one, everyone can access, and the private one, you can only access it. But creating the repos and getting into the habit of using a different branch and merging them just gets you into that way of thinking and way of working. So then when you actually go into work into a proper environment, a developer's environment, you're ready for it. I know when I started off with the company I work for now, I just fell straight into the deep end. I had not even used Git before. It was literally, I think I spent the first month and 2 trying to just grasp the concept of the Git merge and the Git pulls and the Git fetches and just all these Git stuff. But since I've been using it for a year, constantly, every day, for home and for work, it's become second nature. So there are programs available for it. I just prefer using the command line. It's a lot faster, allows me just to do things, and it uses less processing power. Alright, so now that's merged. If we go back to our code, actually, if we go back to our code and have a look, the files are there. So they're in the master branch. So that's all ready for you. You can use the files there. So next thing we need to do, and we have Bootstrap installed. We don't need, this is day 1. Let's have a look here. Let me get rid of this header thing. I don't need it. All right. I think there was a mistake here. I accidentally deleted the bundle, so I'm just pushing it back in. Alright. I don't need to merge it. I'll do that at another stage. Okay, so now we have this today. Let's have a look at our XD file, so we can start looking at how to break it down. Yeah, and working with this. So first things first, we need the navigation bar. Okay. And I think I'm going to create a fixed navigation bar. So since the navigation bar is actually a header, so let's create a header. Yeah. Okay. And I'm using the Enamix, or is it Zen coding? But basically, you can just type like that and press tab, and there's this the style as well, and then you create div.row, and then div, and then you can add div.row, and then inside that you have a div.col12, and basically that will create the whole shebang. It's just something I've picked up, and it's a quick way of creating different things instead of actually just doing this. I haven't done that in a while. Alright, so what we're going to need is the navigation bar. So the quickest way of doing this is to head over to the nav bar, and as we did earlier, just let's grab the nav bar, go back and paste it like we did before. Now we don't need these items. I don't think that there's a search field. Oh no, there's no search as well, so we can get rid of the search part as well and get rid of this. Now, do we have a drop down list? Nope, there's no drop down as well, so I can just effectively get rid of this. Okay, so now we have 1, 2 items. So let's save this and have a look. Yep, home link and the link. Okay. Alright, now that hello webpack is not coming from the actual HTML. It was this JavaScript that was added. So I don't think we can just get rid of it. Now it should. I need to update this, so you're on the watch. Bit slow. Okay. Now that's gone from here, so I can just minimize this. I can close this, close the webpack because we're not using it. We're not using the bundle, and we're not using the package. Just a quick look at the package. As you can see, Bootstrap is now here and not here. I think I could get rid of both of these. Let me just have a look and see. Yeah, so we can just to change a dependency to a dev dependency, all we do is just really simple is to take it from here, cut this out, make sure we delete the comma at the end, head over to here and add a comma and just paste it in here. Okay, and then we can just rebuild it. It will just make sure everything's correct, and yeah, or you could just run your install again. Alright, everything is done. Okay, and then yarn wash. Alright, so now we have that up and running and all sorted out. I'm going to close this now, we don't need it. Alright, now in the index file, so first thing, let me have a look at this here. So we have all core about courses, resources, videos, tools, and blog. Okay, so how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 6. Okay, 6 of them. So all we need to do is, we don't want to copy the first one because it's the active one. All it does is it has this link in here, this class. So let's just copy this one, and we need so that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. And if I minimize this, so okay, so straight out there. So this one's, we don't want the home here, we want the about. Alright, and then we have courses. Okay. So right now we're doing this manually. I know it might seem a bit weird because we're going to later on, we're doing all this, but at a later stage we're actually going to redo it again and link it to a CMS. But from practice, I normally, what I do is build everything out in standard systems without using a CMS or a backend system. Make it look right, works properly, all the correct CSS files, all the functionality is correct, and then take it into the CMS. And because we have the functionality of loops and if statements and stuff like that, then most of this will just get reduced. So instead of having these 6 ones, we'll probably have one of them, but in a for loop, and it creates a loop based on projects. We'll show you how to do that later on when we start to integrate with the CMS. But the reason why we just do that is it's better to have everything ready, all the core pages all up and running without the CMS. Just makes things faster. So save this, switch to here. Okay, so now we have these here. Now they are on the right as well. So all we need to do is we head over here, and where it says MR Auto, and these are classes that were created by Bootstrap system, and MR is basically margin right and then the automatic. So it will calculate the margin on the right, and it will just expand it or make it smaller as we need. So we want to make this for the left, so we just put ML Auto and save that. Now if we head over here on the right now we also don't need we don't want the navbar name here. We want the logo. So what I'm gonna do is head over to here, and I just hope there's the emblem on its own. No, so that's the whole thing. Oh, what the hell, just simple that. So now this one's here, so copy this, go to source, assets, create a new folder called logo. And the reason why I create a folder called logo is because obviously there's going to be more than one different logo. This is a huge file, so we're going to reduce that as well in Photoshop right now. So let's just put this as Alinspired lowercase and then logo. Okay, open this up with so just go to Photoshop. If you don't have Photoshop, there is GIMP, and there are tons of different ones. If you just need to reduce the size of an image, you could just use any system that works. There are tools online as well. Canva does it, or there's a ton of them. So all we're doing is loading up the logo. Okay, and then we just go to File. Actually, am I happy with the size of that? Let me just do a crop, because I don't want to have this much gap here. Don't mind this side, and I don't want to have that much gap on the top and bottom as well. The reason why is I want to control that using code. So now we have that. We just go to File. We just save this. Okay, it's still large. So if we go to File, Export As. Okay. And so we go. So now look, this is 4,476 pixels wide, which is friggin' huge. I don't even know what the hell. We don't even need it that long, so I can just reduce this to 50 or 70 actually. No, it's not. Let me do it from here. So if I go to image size, go to pixels and make sure this is locked. Okay, so it adjusts both of the height and the weight at the same time, so it maintains the aspect ratio. Now, first thing we need to do is make this 72 because we're working on web. Second thing is I don't need 219. I think most I'm ever gonna go up is probably 70. And then we have this 70 by 341. Okay, and just press OK. Looks small and ugly, but now if we export as JPEG, it's only 15 KB. If we make it PNG and turn off the transparency, we can reduce the size of that to 11. And when it comes to internet and all the web in general, these size plays a big kind of a big factor in things. So now we've done that, we just export it and just overwrite this because I don't need it. Yeah. Okay, so can you see the difference between the two files we just created? One is 523 KB, which is kilobytes, and the other one is only 12. So I can just delete this one and make this one just that, because it's a dot ping. So now we've got that here. So let's head over to here. Actually, if we go back to Bootstrap and there's a brand, yeah, so here we are, nav brand. Okay. Take off the width because I want that automatically adjusted. Alright, and let's do this here. So now we need to look into the assets folder and the logo and then load that up. Now what we're going to do at a later stage is replace this logo with an emblem. So what you'll have is just the icon with the A, and then the word uninspired will be just written like that. That will make it more SEO friendly, because then the search engine system will pick up the word uninspired. All right, but we'll do that at this stage. No hurry now. Let's save this and have a look and see. Okay. Obviously, now yeah, it's gonna start. Okay, so this is white. I think we can make this bigger. Now, if you press inspect on this, we can just identify what exactly is affecting what. So right now we know that the height is 30. But if we hover over the nav brand, there's actually padding top and bottom, and the container, and then the whole navigation has a padding across the top and bottom. So if we make this 50, what's going to happen is the whole navigation is going to go too big. So what we do is this: create a new. So in your styles, to structure things. So let's create a new folder and call it layout. Yeah. Create a new folder in here as well and call it components. And then create. Yep, I think that's enough. So what these files will do is basically any component you have. So components meaning that is a component. These things here are components. This is a footer. Okay. That whole thing is a component. That is a component. Okay. These are components, and it's just like building blocks. And what we'll do is we'll have a Sass file specifically for each component we're going to use, and basically I'll show you how to bring all the different Sass files into one. So let's start with the first thing. We're working on the header right now. So if I go to layout and create a new file and call header.scss. I also, let me just, while I'm here, create a new file called footer.scss. Yeah. So now we have these two files in here. We go to index. Now, if we actually, before we do that, if we just go in here and just create header, what's this called? This is a nav bar, I think, yeah. So, one second, let me just see what's affecting that color. Yeah, so let me just get rid of this. So I don't want to have these. Yeah, and just call it top nav. Yeah, or main nav. Okay. One thing about these things here is if we have this here, what's going to happen is the compiler or the CSS, the browser, will look at this and then load up all its properties, then look at this and load up all its properties, then it will look at this and load up its properties. And the problem with this is if we override something in here and we change something, say like we put background as red, and then this here there's a background of blue, then what the system will do, it will change the background to blue. So always put your custom one at the end of the list, so it will look at that and say, okay, this is the one that's going to change everything else. Okay, so now we have that here. These are all gone. If we go to header and just put main nav dot, okay. The best thing about the Sass is we can nest. So we'll be doing a lot of nesting in here and using some features that will be unique to your learning experience. Alright, so the main nav, I want to make this, let's make this so background. So background, color, red. I don't know, just many nights starting and everything seems to be red for me. Doesn't work. It won't load up. No matter how much we try, it won't load up. The reason why is we've actually not imported the header file. And this is one of the kind of big factors that you'll find that people get frustrated about, because they'll create something and they'll realize it's not imported, and I've done it tons of times. So once you do that, let's just do here and put this one as layout. Yeah, layout, not a output. And then underneath here, let's have a components. And all we'll do is any third-party plugins will get listed here, any layout files will get here, and any components will get listed here. And if there's subfolders in here, then it will be, and then sub, whatever it is the folder is. It's just structure. Always try and structure your work, even if you're working on your own. You never know, you'll come back and you realize, damn, what was I doing here? Okay, so import, and I need from here and the layout, and I want the header. Okay, and close this. And what we can do is if we press Alt Shift down, we just make this one footer. Okay, save this. Yep, and there we have it. Now we have control of that nav bar, full control. So first thing I need to do, make this white. Yeah, or you just put hash FFF. Okay. I would always suggest we use the hex or the RGB if it's available, preferably the hex. If it's the same, you just don't need to, instead of using the white or red colors, because they're different between each browser and it gets confusing. Alright, so now we have this. Let's have a look and see some of the margin properties. So in here, just save this. Easy to look at. Okay, so in here, as you can, if you hover over it, okay, so the green part, you can see the green thing that's coming up. If you go to computed here, it will show you what the green is. So the green is padding, and we have a padding of 8 right now. Okay, and so a padding of top and bottom 8, and I think we can make that 0. Do we need to? No. What we'll do is, I think that's fine. Yeah, let me try this. So, in fact, let's do it from here. I always play around with this here. Saves you saving and whatever it is. So you click on the nav, and then you go to the element style, and then just put here padding 0, and that's what it will look like if the padding is 0. Would it work for us? Let's have a look at the XD file and zoom in here. No, I think the padding that we had is good. I think just make, how big is this? This is 80. Wow. And how big is this? This is 60. So we actually have more room to play with. So, come to think of it, I think this is too big. Wow. Alright, so this whole thing is 60. And that whole thing's 80. How's that even possible? Okay. No problem. So, no problem. Let's make this one here. Refresh this. Well, good with the padding. I think the logo can be a bit smaller. If I go to here and go to the logo and make this one 45. Maybe 5 is that? Yeah, 45 is good. Now, on the other side, we have these things here. And what we have on the actual file is that they are kind of grayish. Yes. $70, $70, $70. Okay. So, what we're going to do is create a new folder here called base. And inside this base, we're going to create a new file called variables.scss. Yeah, and what this variables is, because with Adobe, just like we did here in our first course. Okay, where is it? No, here, yeah. So just like we did here, where we created our different colors that we're going to use across the side of the site, we can do that with Sass, and they're called variables. So let's call this is the worst thing about variables, naming them. Yeah, we'll do the way what's the way Bootstrap does it theirs. So they'll just put it and then the name of the color. So let's do this one as, what the hell is that name? Oops. Okay, so let's do this. In fact, there is a color names. Name that color. Is it name all colors? You just put the name of the color. Yeah. Okay. So you come here, and then you just put 97D282B5. Name it. 97D2B5. Oh, this is not the site. There was a site I used before. Color names. Name that color. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, so basically, this was amazing. I actually named all the colors that we used for the company. Okay, and this one is Vista Blue. So head over to your to here and just call this Vista Blue. Okay, and then just put hash 97D2B5. Alright. Alright, next one is next color is 57AF97. And this one's silver tree, so silver tree. Okay, and it basically just saves you. It's better than naming green, light green, blue, light blue, red, right? You get the drift. So next one is B4DB84. Feoja. Say Feoja. Joa. Alright. And this one is E4988B. E4988B. Tony's pink. And then here we have Tony's pink. Thing is, we've named this once, and I don't think we're going to use it again. We're going to be playing around with the names. It's just a way of having the name on record. I think I might copy this. If someone has a better way of naming things, I would love to have that conversation, because naming colors is like one of those things that's just nasty. Because the way Bootstrap have named them is blue, indigo, purple, pink, red, orange, yellow, green, teal, and cyan. And I think more or less these colors, they're simple the way they've named them. They're the simple ones. They're not the ones where the custom ones. So 1B2137 Mirage, and this one is Mirage. And I think what we do here is try to keep everything consistent. Okay, if you're using capitals, use capitals. If you're not using capitals, don't use capitals. If you're using camel case, use camel case. Stick to one. I personally have any So what I do normally is, so now that's done, is just save this. And what you need to do is, in your index file, it needs to call this the base. And in fact, I think we can get away with having it right before here, because I'm going to be creating an override for this Bootstrap system at a later stage, and I'll show you how to do that. So it would be useful to have this here. So at import, and we need to import layout base variables, and close this off. Okay, so now we can go back to our header and have this as white, and then have the A tag nested within the main nav. So let's go here. Actually, it's a nav link, so I don't need this as well. Actually, let me copy this, and I'll paste it for you here. Alright, now, well over my hour. Alright, so let me just finalize that. So we have the nav link here. So here, copy this, nav link, go to header, and change this to .nav link. It's nested within that. You can nest within a nest, how much you want, and then just have this as color, and then hash, it was 70, yeah, and then just have this one, get rid of this, just have this as grey. Is it grey with the E or the Y? With the A. Alright, so now we have that here, and all we do is go up grey. Okay, save that, and let's have a look at this. All good. Go back to here, and they're grey. Alright, but we still get this blue, ugly blue thing, and basically, the reason why we get that is because it's first loading up the nav bar and all its properties, and then the nav bar again, the expanded one, and then we're loading up our main nav, and it's the same thing for here. If you look at the nav item, it's literally loading up here, the nav link. If you look at the styles, it's loading up everything else, then it's loading up ours. So if we turn off ours, it will go blue. And what we'll do is, I think at another stage, we'll probably on Monday now, we'll create a override for Bootstrap. So maybe we don't want the buttons to be rounded like Bootstrap does. Maybe we want them square. So instead of creating a custom CSS file that you basically add on top of the Bootstrap one, since we're using the Sass files anyway, we can pre-compile them, and it's just a sense of creating a variable file like we did earlier that mimics the same variable names as Bootstrap. And what Bootstrap system will look at that first, and because we already have a value for it, it won't override with their values, and it's just the way that they've done it to allow us to have more control over it, and we'll do it that way. It just helps save us this blue-green issue, and we'll go work and more on the navbar. I think now we're on the path of creating the site. It will start to kind of go more smoothly. So join again on Monday at 7 o'clock UK time, and we'll get this started. Feel free to download the GitHub repo and play around with things. If you want to ask me a question, I'm available on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, you name it, I'm there. And just pop me a message and we'll have a chat. Anything else, take care guys, and I'll see you guys on Monday.